if you had to rank the cold opens for any show, this one probably wouldn't be that high. But we're going to talk about Dynasty Rankings instead, a far more interesting topic as we discuss fantasy football every week here on the Dynasty Six Pack. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 34 of the Dynasty Six Pack. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Senra. The screen is not correct. I must change things. Okay, I changed things. There we go. For anyone watching on the video. For those listening on audio, head over to the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel if you want to check us out and see what I'm talking about. Lots of great shows there on the YouTube channel as well. But wherever you are, YouTube or audio forms of podcasts, be sure to subscribe. Senra says, and that's what I'm saying. So again, I'm Kyle Senra. My co-hosts are Rahul Natarajan. Rahul, how are you doing?
Doing well, Kyle. Good to see you. Good to see Jamie as well. This is, of course, my small talk moment of the show when we introduce ourselves and how we've been doing. Shoot, I kept that one in the bag for 34 weeks and delivered as best as I could, but we'll deliver the content for today. I promise, even better than our cold open so far. But doing well and excited to get into Dynasty Rankings today.
You actually landed that plane pretty well. Great job. And of course, Jamie Perog. Jamie, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, let's go. It's mid-season. Time for that rank and yank check. Sleepers waking up. These bus hitting the deck. Can't miss studs. Some straight up missing. Let's dive in. It's mid-season Dynasty edition.
Okay, that was the best. That
was the best.
Yeah, you definitely bested us this episode. You win, Jamie. Good job. Dynasty court all over again. So we decreed. But what we've decreed with our Dynasty Rankings again, that'll be the main topic today. As we've gone through this 2025 NFL season, through the regular season, it's been a lot of each of us picking a topic, but Jamie's been hounding us for weeks too. Let's do a Dynasty Rankings update. So midway through the season, basically about halfway of the fantasy football season, 17 weeks. We are week 8, so somewhere in the mix between week 8 and week 9, and an ambiguous moment in time is the exact halfway point of the fantasy football season. It's probably either after a Monday night game or before a Monday night game, or I don't know. There's no time to talk about that time. It's Dynasty Rankings time. But Dynasty Rankings, redraft rankings, all sorts of great articles. Start sit, goal line guide article, just to plug my own article. All of that available on the Fantasy Six Pack website, fantasysixpack.net. So be sure to check that out. Lots of great content for free. But if you want to take it even a step further, there's the All Access membership. Great things like cheat sheets and DFS, betting, all sorts of premium content that only available through the All Access membership. Now, there is a reduced price. We have the promo code F6P Pods, all letters capitalized. And for episode 34, the 34th time, I've said it, well, maybe not all correctly, but it's the Arabic numeral 6. So F6P PODS. Again, F6P Pods, that promo code to get you 15% off the All Access membership on fantasysixpack.net. Fantasy Six Pack Discord is involved there as well, and there's some premium channels there too that the All Access membership gets you access to that the regular freeway doesn't get you in. Okay, that took a driving good, and I totally drove off the freeway there. Almost didn't quite land it, but here we are, landing to talk about Dynasty Rankings. Favorite thing to do, right? Which players are the best? And we've debated it the entire season so far. 34 episodes in. I want to think back to our first episode, and that's going to be our first topic coming up, the number one players at each position. And if I think back to that first episode, there was a couple of those. So when we talk about each position, we're not an IDP show, so we talk about quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and half of those positions we all had the same player as number one. So it's interesting to see where things have changed. Mostly me. I'm the one that just keeps deviating. I'm sorry, guys. You would have everything like unanimous basically the whole way through if it wasn't for me. So I have to come in and mess things up. But any general Dynasty ranking topics before we get started?
I suppose general midseason is always a little tough. You have to remove there's a lot of context to apply, especially when we answer like trade questions for Dynasty. That's why I know we're not doing this live anymore, but it's always important to get context. Squad, first of all, roster setting, squad context. Then at this point of the season, contender, rebuilder, step away, fake. Always important to remember with rankings that the context still matters as much as it's nice to lay things out like this is QB1, this is 2, 3, 4, etc. That's why we always like to go in with tiers and add context where. So keep that in mind. Like rankings is a imprecise art that we try.
And you need to factor in injuries that are current, the player usages, like what's their snap count, what could it be going forward, all that mumble jumble.
Yeah.
I know for myself this year, especially, I've committed to updating my dynasty rankings every 2 weeks during the NFL season, and that's been because Joe's told me to be fair. But as part of getting my dynasty rankings on Fantasy Six Pack, instead of just before all my rankings were either full press coverage or going for two. Now you can find my dynasty rankings on Fantasy Six Pack. We also have the dynasty Six Pack trade value analyzer. And my rankings are ones that feed directly into that trade value. And again, every 2 weeks when I update my rankings, I also make sure to update them in there as well. So you can find that on the main website as well. Back.net under fantasy football. That'll be one of the main, scroll down menu, one of the main options there. So yeah. So I know for myself, it's been every 2 weeks. So to Jamie's point, all the injuries and making sure everything factors in, it's been a grind. So I even did them. I wasn't actually supposed to do them this week, but I even did them just a little bit of updating just for this episode, just for all the viewers and listeners and my two amazing players. So yeah, let's get to it. Number one player at each position. I want to start with Bijan Robinson. Back in episode 1, all three of us had Bijan Robinson as the RB1. 33 episodes later, more than half a year later, Bijan Robinson still the RB1 for all three of us. So we don't have to focus too much on it. This could be pretty quick, but what do you guys want to say about Bijan?
I mean, just his elite opportunity share. He's getting all the rushes and rushing yards per game. His receiving yards is even up there. Honestly, his receiving yards are more than I thought it was going to be. I think he's getting like 60 to 70 per game.
It might be surprising to some that I think he had 70 catches last year. Would have put him in top 5 among all running backs.
And he's at 30 right now. So that's 5 per game.
Yeah. And they've already had their bye week. So he seems like he's on pace to do better than that too.
His touchdowns are actually down a little bit to where I thought it was. He has 4 total. 3.1% rate. That's outside the top 12. But still, just wait till this week. He's going to get 2 more touchdowns this week, and that's just going to help him.
Yeah. I think just to pick up on the receiving point, it's like when you watch the games, it's like this guy's not just like collecting like the dump offs. Like he is constantly in motion, lined up out wide, lined up in the slot. Like he's a featured piece. Excuse me, of the receiving game in a way that like some other backs that rack up like the target numbers just aren't. Like truly a special player, and not to get into others, but I think there was some debate about whether Bijan should be the RB1 or could it be somewhere in like a Jahmyr Gibbs. And Gibbs is someone that you look at his receiving profile from college and think that, hey, that has a little bit more to go in the NFL. And I think we're kind of seeing from Bijan what you would almost expect the Jahmyr Gibbs profile would allow a team to do in terms of like lining him all over the field and having him in motion. So, I mean, just a phenomenal player. Jamie, you touched on the touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns all season, 2 receiving. Jonathan Taylor has got 3 rushing touchdowns in a game 3 times already. And yet Bijan is like, starting to match those numbers. So I think there's just even more to go. Like, what a phenomenal player. And I think pretty easy choice at RB1.
He's even running 80 62% of the team's routes. So
Yeah.
when they're throwing the ball, he's getting more routes than some receivers in this league.
Yep.
And his yards per reception, number 1 out of all running backs. So you have to count that in.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I don't have anything else to say. What else there is there to say about Bijan? Right? I mean, you're right, Rahul, because I think all of us have Gibbs at number 2, and he would be that might be the position where there is the most clarity on who would be the one to challenge. But yeah, we're all still saying Bijan and probably in the same tier as Gibbs, but we all prefer Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, but I mean, Gibbs is doing it like kind of in a split backfield. I know they're using him more than Monty, but Monty's still behind him. Bijan has the backfield all to himself, so I just feel he's a safer bet.
Yeah.
It's funny because you mentioned the touchdowns. It feels like Tyler Algier has vultured a couple of touchdowns already, so it's not as much as we would want him to, but that doesn't exist really for any player. Maybe Christian McCaffrey, but again, dynasty age McCaffrey versus what Bijan and Gibbs are getting you, and frankly, points per game, like Bijan Robinson's not that far away from Christian McCaffrey, and I think that's what drives the point home. Is he's still in his rookie contract, young enough to be a good long-term dynasty asset, but fantasy points per game, he's smashing right now, so he's going to help you win. Like this is prime peak asset. This is what you have as a number 1 running back. And yeah, Bijan Robinson feels like he's the textbook version of what you want. Goal line involvement, great passing game involvement, offense that's scoring decent enough, and yeah, give him all those carries. But not again, Algier's getting enough, but Bijan's still getting all the valuable stuff, and that's why. Same with Gibbs. Like Montgomery's still there, but that's why those are the top 2 rankings.
Yeah. And I suppose just on the Bijan Gibbs and like that's where like Gibbs, it feels like their ceiling to go with like the receiving stuff, what Jamie touched on, split backfield. But almost in a way, Bijan benefits from very, very clearly being the best player on the team. I mean, we love Drake London, but like there is like a serious talent gap from Bijan to their other options to where the Lions have a lot of prominent options and options that are also very, very good at scoring touchdowns. And that's where like the touchdown share team, we just talked about it, but like the focus of the team is going to be on Bijan in a way that like it doesn't need to be on Jahmyr Gibbs. And I wonder if that's something too.
For example, like I said, Bijan's getting 80+% of the routes, right? Gibbs is only getting 55% of the routes ran. So he's sitting on the sidelines some of the times when they are throwing the ball. So Bijan, I believe, has more opportunity in that aspect.
Yeah, it feels like, yeah, I guess I don't really need to say much more. I guess I'm the one that needs to do the explaining, right? Because quarterback and wide receiver, you two had the same players at number 1 of those positions back in episode 1. And I differed. I took different names at each of those spots. I've hemmed and hawed. I've changed both quarterback and wide receiver throughout the regular season several times, especially wide receiver. There's been, I think, 3 or 4 different names that I've had as the dynasty wide receiver 1 throughout this season. I landed back to Jamar Chase. Actually, I was in episode 1, I was saying Justin Jefferson. I think Joe Flacco being there gives me just enough confidence, as if almost to the point where if it was Joe Burrow, that we view Jamar Chase as the wide receiver 1. So maybe I was wrong, because Jefferson we still haven't seen him succeed with JJ McCarthy yet, because we've barely seen JJ McCarthy. So I think that question mark is looming large enough over Jefferson on me right now that I don't know if this is a huge overreaction, but I've got Justin Jefferson down from, again, 33 episodes ago, wide receiver 1, now down to wide receiver 5 in Dynasty. So before we talk about Jamar Chase, like, what do you think of that fall for Jefferson for me? Is that an overreaction? Do you think you can guess, obviously Chase being one of them, but the other 3 names that he's dropped behind?
I mean, I'm going to guess Puka. I'm going to guess Lamb and JSN.
Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra could be another
Rahul,
one.
God,
Yes.
yeah. Rahul.
And I think Amon Rahul, indeed. St. Brown over here, but
Good for you, man. It's awesome.
yeah. Hey, I don't think that's absurd at all, Kyle. And I think we love Jefferson, but it's almost like I almost would say it's not like Jefferson's fallen, but the other guys have really closed the gap, and in some cases overtaken Justin Jefferson, who's yet to truly have like a breakout game. I think he it might still be sitting at one receiving touchdown, which came in that first JJ McCarthy game. Um, and you're constantly seeing Jamar Chase 3 consecutive games at over 20 half PPR points. Amon Ra has a 30-point game, has a 20-point game. Puka is doing it. JSN's doing it. CD was just at 19 in the last week. And that lack of a boom game makes a difference because in the end of the year, when they're all probably lining up like 15 to 17 half PPR points per game, it's like Jefferson's like right there. But in a week to week basis, the lack of a boom game is not giving you that like extra percentage chance of win that you're getting from the ceiling performance from the other players. So I think that's honestly completely justified, Kyle. And even if they might stay in the same tier, I honestly I kind of like where you're going. As much as I love Jettas, don't have the mug right now, but I kind of see I see the vision there.
Well,
I mean,
you
you're right.
could wait the Thursday game. I'm projecting at least 80 yards and a touchdown for Jefferson, so that could boost his value up a little bit. I still have him at 3. I had him at 2, I believe, going into the season. I did move Puka above him. Yeah, Puka's 2 years younger. We've seen the usage he was getting. It was crazy. Malik Nabers, I mean, if he wasn't injured right now for the season, I think I would put Nabers over Jefferson. But the fact is, Jefferson's playing. Malik Nabers is not. So I can't put Nabers over Jefferson just yet, even though that 4-year age gap. Next year, going into the season, it could be a completely different story.
You were someone like I think you were the person who only had Jefferson and Chase in the top tier back in episode 2, I guess. That's
Yeah, and I'm still not taking him out in my top 3. He's just too much of an elite talent. We haven't seen it with JJ yet, so when JJ does come back, I think they're just going to click.
Yeah. And I think Puka is a great comparison. Something I've really been thinking about. I think like Scott Connor and Shane Manila, I think Shane says
I
on
love
Twitter.
Shane, yes.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, I think those guys really like kind of push like the boundaries of like fantasy strategy in a way that's like really informative. And they talk a lot about like having hammers in your team. And especially the wide receiver position, a hammer to me are those guys that are getting 10 plus targets a game, like 8 to 10 catches. They're racking up the 100-yard games. And it like we know Justin Jefferson can do that, but that kind of performance is just not being seen. He's got a very capable 2 running with him. There's been some quarterback problems. They're leading into the run game for whatever reason. Puka shows more of that like hammer potential in that way that he's like able to command targets, or the scheme is being like centered around him, and just a way we're not seeing with Justin Jefferson right now.
Yeah. So anyway, have you dropped him all the way down to 5 like I have, Rahul, or would you have Jefferson a little higher than that still?
Man. God, oh my god.
Because I know I could see why, like for Jamie, like you had Jefferson a tier above Lamb before the season. So I could see why, especially even Lamb dealing with injuries this year, why you'd say like, yeah, that's not something you're gonna change. But Rahul, you and I had Lamb in that top tier. So I don't know if that one is easier to stomach. Same with St. Brown. Based on what you said about Puka, I can guess that all of us are ranking Puka ahead of Jefferson now.
Yeah, I think I still have him at 3 with Lamb and ARSB right behind. But
maybe
tier is expanded. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point that I was going to bring up later. But yeah, I think the top tier definitely expands, certainly beyond 3 for us, and I would say beyond 2 for Jamie.
So you guys mentioned these names: St. Brown, Lamb, Nabers, Jefferson, Puka, Chase. There's someone in my top 5 that we haven't even mentioned yet that I raised.
And Jamie, we're going to get to it later. I've got like the whole I didn't even really want to talk about Puka that much at this point. I think we're going to get even more into him.
All right.
I want to talk about Ja'Marr Chase, actually, and get your take, Jamie, first. Because I'm going to ask you both the same question. At any point this season, because you guys had him at number one before the season, were there any points this year where he wasn't your number one wide receiver in Dynasty?
Yes, there was a point where I did actually move him down. I can't remember what week
between
it was.
the Joes, right? Like after Burrow
I want to say it was like
and before Joe Flacco got there.
I want to say like
just an average Jake, not an average Joe.
So after week 3, I was like, okay, I'll chalk it up. Then week 4 happened. I was like, oh well, it's against Denver. Maybe I'll chalk it up.
Surtain,
and then yeah. And then I moved him down after week 4 just a little bit. And he just kept coming back around. Like he didn't have less than 30 points. I can't remember exactly, but he had like 25, 30 points each of those weeks after week 5. So after week 5, that's when I did move him back up. But I only moved him down to like 2 or 3. It's not like I was moving him down too far.
Yeah. I think week 4 sounds about right because it was maybe that first performance with Browning. At the same time, Puka had like 17 targets or something in week 4, and I thought that bumped him above Chase temporarily.
Yeah. Now, so another player that you guys, and I guess I'll ask the same question. Because it's the same situation. You both had Josh Allen at number 1 before the season. He's still your number 1 quarterback now. At any points was he not your number 1 quarterback during the season?
Never. That dude's gonna be elite until the day he retires.
Yeah, I think even with the way that Lamar had a couple games to start, it just didn't give me new information in a way that the wide receiver. I think we learned new information about these elite wide receivers. But I didn't necessarily learn new information about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They just kept doing what they've always been doing. Maybe in the last couple of games, I really am excited to see them come out of the bye because there have been some struggles, both real life and fantasy. But I have not. I've left Josh as QB1 this whole time.
Yeah, he had a few games. A few games where he wasn't completing a lot of his passes, but for the most part, he's completing 70 to 80% of his passes. He's got that rushing ability. He's always got that touchdown in the rushing game, and he could take a receiver that is garbage and just elevate him.
Yeah.
So are you insulting Keon Coleman again?
A little bit. Bit. I am. Yeah, but it's more on that Shakur and a little bit of Dalton Kincaid. But when Dalton Kincaid comes back, oh man, I hope he plays this week. He's gonna blow up.
You insulting Kincaid and Shakir? Man, now I'm not. I'm happy to talk with you guys. I'm really sad that Jayden Daniels was hurt again, and that's been the thing that's been me fluctuating. Because he was my QB1 before the season, just the age gap, and I felt he could provide the same type of super high floor that Lamar Jackson had, potentially even higher ceiling with higher passing volume. Could rival, maybe not quite match, but get close to the weekly ceiling that Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts get from their rushing. But yeah, then Jayden Daniels got hurt week 2, and suddenly it was tough to have him as the QB1. So there was points I think from week 3 on where Josh Allen was the QB1 for me in rankings, and Daniels was maybe 2 or 3. But then Lamar got hurt too, so then it was can't necessarily have Lamar ahead of Daniels. I mean, my process has been Daniels ahead of Lamar the whole time. So when they're both hurt, it's easier to do. And so even now, we haven't actually seen Lamar come back. So right now in my rankings, I still have Jayden Daniels at QB2. Now, if this hamstring injury lasts a while and Lamar comes back and smashes, I might consider changing them. But I'm not banking anything that Lamar is for sure going to just be amazing when he comes back, or that he's for sure coming back yet. Yes, this is more just a snapshot in time of when this is happening with the injuries. Because if we had done this last week, well, guess what? After the performance Daniels had in week 6, I think, returning, where he was the QB, I think it was QB 4 or 3 overall. Well,
Top
guess what?
5 for sure. Yeah.
He was with you mentioned it, Rahul, the couple of struggles with the Bills' offense and Josh Allen. Well, Daniels was right back to QB1. So if we had done this last week, we wouldn't be unanimous. But Daniels got hurt again, so it's back to I've come all the way back full circle. I guess I was never there this year, but Josh Allen QB1. So we're unanimous in all 3 of those positions: running back, quarterback, wide receiver. Bijan Robinson's the RB1 in Dynasty. Ja'Marr Chase, the wide receiver 1 in Dynasty, and Josh Allen, the QB1.
So I do want to mention you did lower Daniels because of that injury concern that he's been having. And I believe I had Daniels at 3 behind Allen and Lamar. I actually moved Daniels above Lamar. So Daniels is my number 2. So it's funny that you moved him down and I moved him up.
Well,
in like the same context.
He's 2 for me right now. Again, we'll see if this hamstring injury lingers long enough. That might be enough for me to put him lower than Lamar, assuming, again, Lamar comes back and doesn't get hurt himself. Right now, it's still Daniels 2. Yeah, I don't know how you see that. Do you have the same?
Yeah, so I have Daniels at 2 right now, but I moved him up where you had Daniels at 1 and moved him down.
Converged. Jane, we're in the zone together.
Yep.
Rahul, do you have Jayden Daniels at QB2?
I think I have Jayden Daniels at QB4 and a new entrant into that elite tier. A guy who
this is going to make Jamie happy either way. I think there's 2 names it could be.
So please tell me why it's Drake May.
Is it Drake May?
No, not so bold. Not so bold. It is a guy that you. I feel like I remember you made a great trade in preseason to get this guy at certainly the lowest value. No, Patrick Mahomes, man. Patrick, current QB1 in fantasy. Patrick Mahomes, and just let me age is there, but I think I keep for me, ceiling games is so part of where I rank players. And it's not that Jayden can't do it. He certainly did it quite a few times last year, but just the rate of 30 plus or 28 plus point games is so much higher with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and this year, Patrick Mahomes he's on a run right now. He's at week 1, 26 points. Week 4, 27, week 5, 27, week 6, 31, week 7, 26. And that was only 3 quarters in the Ravens game and the Raiders game. Raiders. That's right. He's showing his ability to rack up those huge scores, and he's rushing a little bit more. I don't know how sustainable that is compared to the other 3, but his ability to toss 3 to 4 touchdowns a game is, I think, propelled him back into that elite tier for me. I mean, QB1, and let me just do average rankings. QB1 at 25 points per game is Mahomes. Lamar Jackson is next at 23.6, Josh at 22.9. Then you're getting into the 21s and below. And it's always that gap that you're starting with in your lineup. Whoever the QB1 is proven to have that couple point gap, and this year, Mahomes is showing he can do it, and that's with Rashee Rice's first game in however many months, and Worthy banged up, and Kelsey old, and all those concerns. But I think Mahomes, for me, deserves his place as high as QB3, and certainly in that top tier of QBs for me.
Dude, I love that.
We're going to talk about Mahomes later, but we can. I mean, to be fair, we did talk a lot about QB rankings in the previous episodes. This could be something where we don't talk too much about quarterbacks, so may as well. Yeah, Jamie, if you got anything to say about Mahomes? So, I've got him at QB5 still. I can't quite.
He's at 6
put him ahead
for
of
me.
Hurts' upside, so I say 5. So, I guess Jamie, who is your 5? I guess you've already revealed who your 5 is, right? It's Drake May, isn't it?
I have Drake May at 5. I still have Hurts at 4. Then I got Mahomes
at 6.
At 6. So those are my top 6. And I just love how, Rahul, you have Mahomes so high. I love it. Because you mentioned that trade that I had. I was trying to get Drake May, who I do have at 5. And Mahomes 1 spot behind. But in that league, I am the top team in that league. I'm winning the championship with Mahomes. I mean, Drake May.
Who said it? I think he's the top fantasy score points per game this year.
Yeah.
Right?
So he is QB4, right? Drake May. So if I would have gotten Drake May, I would have had to pay more for Drake May.
Mm-hmm.
On that team, but
it
I'm
depends
still
on
number
whose
one.
rankings, right? Because I mean, he's QB4 in your rankings. So if you're trading with another clone of yourself, yes.
No, he's QB4 on the year. Quarterback scoring.
Mahomes is
QB4. Yeah, but May is.
I mean, it's still up. Sorry, I thought you meant like Mahomes relative to May. Okay, sorry, Jamie, I misunderstood.
So I was thinking so I didn't go back, but if I would have traded for May, maybe I would have lost a couple more games because of those point differentials.
The difference there. You also might have been okay in a lot of weeks too. Like he's getting close enough to production that whatever you paid was still a profit. Like you didn't pay the QB4 overall price to get either. You wouldn't make it. But yeah, good job, great trading, great vision to go get Mahomes. I'm the idiot who cut Mahomes to go get Lamar Jackson in a free agent auction, and now I should have stuck with Mahomes for cheaper than what I paid for Lamar in the auction. Man, that really backfired. I thought that was a genius move. That was really not smart. But
that's just the game.
I
That's just the game we play. I
mean, I still have Lamar ahead of Mahomes, but I think Herbert, Drake May are those next two for me, 6 and 7. Where I'm debating. I don't know, Rahul, is it similar for you? I assume you have Hurts high too. Like maybe you have Hurts lower than what I'm expecting.
I think it's probably Hurts at 5, Herbert 6, May 7, which is pretty similar to. I don't think the rankings overall have changed, but again, like the wide receiver discussion, I almost feel like that top tier is just like expanded. Now it's so easy in the off season when we go and look at the previous years and how they played out, and Mahomes is coming off like 2 QB, like certainly not higher than QB8 finishes in the last 2 years. I think around QB12, and we know he can do it. We know he has done it. Dynasty age is a factor, whatever. But then just to like see the way they're playing and the way they're racking up fantasy. This guy's racking up fantasy points. Like, yeah, I feel good. I feel good about that ranking. And Mahomes, right? Like Mahomes is always in a way that a Jalen Hurts doesn't have almost that name value. Like Jalen Hurts is criminally like disrespected. I think not in.
I've been talking about that for 2 years. Like he's like the best buy in Superflex. Go get Jalen Hurts because he's so undervalued.
We were saying
he's expensive, but he's still undervalued.
I mean, but startup, he was I think we did like an overall rankings episode, if I remember. In startup, he was like falling like sometimes even out of the first round, and we all had him like no lower than 7th overall. Like he was probably like the best buy. But then Mahomes, you probably consider how Mahomes is going in some of those and how he's doing, man. This is ranking is an imprecise art, right?
Now let's have to talk about tight ends. I guess the first guy we will talk about is other than Bijan Robinson, the consensus #1 player in our #1 episode. All of us had Bijan Robinson as the RB1. All of us also had Brock Bowers as the tight end. And Jamie, nothing's changed for you in spite of the Brock Bowers injury. You still have Bowers at tight end 1. So if you want to say anything about Bowers, now is the time.
Bowers is only 22, 23 years old. He's got a long road ahead of him as being the best tight end in this league. Best comparable player, Travis Kelce. We all know what his value was. Until he hits the age 30, I don't think I'm going to move him out of my top 1. It's impossible. Dude's just too good.
We're ranking this a moment where he's been out for what feels like it's been close to 6 weeks now since he's played. Was it week 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was week 3 or 4.
He came back for 1 game in week 4 and then has sat out since.
So I mean, he's missed 5 of the last 6 weeks, right? So
he only hit 10 points 1 time, and that was week 1 when he was tight end 1 overall or something like that. I don't remember.
I can look that up pretty quick right now, but
it definitely was up there.
Hence the reason why you still have him at tight end 1, because he shows he could.
Yeah, and even on a down game, he was still like top 12-ish.
So he's actually played. Yeah, so he got I think what happened, he got hurt week 3 and then tried to come back week 4 and got aggravated, and he's been out since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Had, I guess, 3 weeks in a row now, about to be a 4th week in a row without Bowers. I mean, this is their bye week. You're right. He was the QB. He was the tight end 2 week 1. Jamie, so great call on that. And again, that's the upside of Bowers. That's why you have him as tight end 1. Clearly haven't waited.
And the thing is, he was nursing that PCL injury since week 1. He got that injury in week 1. They should have sat him so it could have healed properly, but they didn't. And now he's week to week. We don't know if he comes back after the bye week and he's fully healthy, it's wheels up for him. But they need to sit him so this can actually heal. So I call bull on the coaching. They didn't do their job to protect their number 1 asset on that team.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders mismanaged something. I am shocked. All right, well, there you go. That dose of sarcasm brought to you by the Las Vegas Raiders. Hooray. Not hooray, or at least I guess it depends. If you're a Cardinals fan, you might say hooray to this. Rahul and I have deviated. Maybe it's the injury. I don't think it's entirely the injury, though, and I guess I'll get to my reasoning why. I'm curious to Rahul's explanation. We both have Trey McBride as the tight end 1 in Dynasty. The episode title is Trey McBride the tight end 1? Has the takeover fully taken place? Well, Rahul and I say yes. JB's clearly saying no. But Rahul, you and I both moved Trey McBride up to the tight end 1 in Dynasty. So let's hear it. Why'd you do it?
Yeah. I mean, Bauer's situation aside, I think it's just hard to argue with the production that Trey McBride has put on the table. In half PPR, he is tight end 2, and honestly, with the way that Ferguson has been PPR scamming, so not surprising that Ferguson, a big favorite of the Dynasty 6-pack, Jake Ferguson is the tight end 1. But I think the production just really speaks for itself. Like the way that he has also answered a question that fantasy managers would have had is like, does year 2 Marv step in and become the centerpiece of that passing attack? I think that question has been answered definitively. It is still Trey McBride. And the other concern you could have had with McBride is like this guy, Kyle, you pointed it out when you showed us your projections data. Like this guy is historically underperforming his expected touchdowns. Now suddenly he sits with 4 touchdowns in 7 games, including 2 in this last week. And if you include the last 2 weeks of the last season, it's 9 weeks with 6 touchdowns. Like he can, get in the end zone contrary to popular belief. And I think, again, we're arguing about hairs, right? It's like these guys are probably both still sitting in the same tier. But I think with the production that McBride is currently giving our fantasy teams, he deserves to be the one, because Bowers, when he comes back, we're jamming him right into our lineups. We're ranking him as a top 3 tight end on the week. But he's not done what Trey McBride has done so far this season. And we have to see that before I would even consider flip-flopping the rankings. I feel very comfortable at McBride as number 1.
I mean, I think McBride and Bowers can be flip-flopped any which way. You're not going to rank any of these outside the top 2. It's going to be Bowers and McBride. Then there's like a tier break. But there's another guy I have in the same tier.
Yeah, no.
Well, is it a tier break right there? We'll get to him in a second. But I think the injury makes it easy to put McBride. It really does. It's almost a built-in excuse. But truthfully, I think there's another reason behind it. And
the 3-year age gap.
I mean, until they're 30, you said it yourself, Jamie. You don't care how old Bowers is until he's 30. McBride's not 30 yet, so the age gap doesn't really matter to me. It's Bowers, I think, is being unfairly hurt by Sam LaPorta. Oh, rookie tight end 1 overall comes in. The next year disappoints. And Bowers, through injury, not production, has disappointed. Whether that's fair or not to just put it on him because of the injury, that's what's happened. And whereas McBride has now done this seemingly like 3 years in a row where he's just, looks like he's earning this massive target share. And last year I think it was like 29%. I don't know if he'll quite get there, but he's going to be really close again. And it just feels like there's this. Can't think of the word. He could copy and paste this year over year for the rest of his career, and we won't be surprised. Like who's the next Kelsey? Who's the next guy that's just going to be a featured part of their passing offense like Kelsey is? I think it's McBride. And that's not to say it can't also be Bowers, but I just have so much confidence in McBride, seeing him do it now 3 years in a row, just earning this massive target share. And again, we've seen LaPorta drop off that first year. As great as Warren's going to be, I'm going to have a real hard time not thinking there's going to be a bit of drop back as well. And again, maybe Bowers unfairly being punished because of how much of a disappointment LaPorta was, even though he really wasn't that bad in year 2. But it just, there's enough still questions with Bowers. I still want to, I guess, a bigger sample size of him doing it as opposed to McBride, who has so it's not much, but it's like, I don't want to say 3 times the sample size, but it feels like it's almost 3 times the sample size of McBride's having this success doing that. I feel like year 2 for McBride wasn't quite as outstanding as these last 2 years, but enough to be a 20% target earner, which is incredible for most tight ends. And so just having him do it year over year, I think McBride's the guy I want to plant my flag on finally. And the injury hasn't lowered Bauer for me more than tight end 2. Rahul, is he your tight end 2?
Tight end 2.
So, Jamie, you want to talk about this guy? Do all of us have Tyler Warren as the tight end 3?
Well, first of all, I just want to reference back when we started these rankings.
Yeah.
I did have Tyler Warren at 3 when everyone else was like, oh, he's 10, 11, 12. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But now
I think that's right where, that's probably where I had him. Yeah.
So perfect. I like to be ahead of the game. And Tyler Warren.
That was episode 2, by the way. That was episode 2.
Yeah. Episode 2
in March.
Go back and listen. I had
pre-NFL draft. Yeah.
I had Tyler Warren as my dynasty tight end 3. People call me crazy because at that time Loveland was above Warren in most people's ranks, and I'm like, no.
I think I was talking about Kittle, or maybe you might have LaPorta. Like that.
Yeah.
Cold takes exposed right off the bat. But yeah, great job, Jamie.
Let's give big game a round of applause. Yeah, with my Tyler Warren take. Maybe next year in March, April, you guys need to tune into the Dynasty 6-pack more often so you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, big game James over there giving us those big game advice. Now, has the top tier expanded for you? Because I know, Jamie, we had it earlier. You said it was McBride, Bowers in tier 1. Tier 2 is Tyler Ward and maybe other guys.
No, I have Warren in that first tier.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. We all have the same top 3. Is that the top tier? Those 3 guys? And I tend to agree. Rahul, are you in agreement?
Absolutely. I absolutely think Warren deserves a place in that top bracket. Just. You mentioned it there with Trey McBride, like the ability to be a centerpiece for a team's passing offense. And no matter the number of receivers, talented, secure with the ball as they cross the goal line, no matter the number of weapons that are on the Colts, like they've shown that rookie Tyler Warren is going to be their guy. They're constantly looking for him. They're using him in all sorts of ways. He is a red zone weapon. I even thought, you looked at his college stats, like this guy had like a number of rushing yards, some rushing touchdowns, snaps out of Wildcats. Like that's nice, like window dressing, but is an NFL team really going to lean to? They're absolutely giving this guy goal line carries. I think he's a monster and will continue to be for years to come. And the LaPorta warning is a message to heed. When this guy inevitably becomes like a 2nd, 3rd round redraft pick next year, Tyler Warren, LaPorta is in a different situation where he had less than 1,000 receiving yards. I have to see what Warren is pacing at, but I believe he already has like 450. But he had 10 touchdowns, LaPorta did, in a very crowded room with a lot of other like first options. I think Tyler Warren will continue to be like the number 1 option for the Colts, and I really don't have any worries about him. Whereas I certainly did with Sam LaPorta just a couple off seasons ago.
So I love that you bring up LaPorta because he's in my next tier of his own. 4.
I have him at 4 as well. Rahul's at the
I think that makes sense. LaPorta's been good, but boom bust as most tight ends tend to be.
I can even I think I agree, Jamie, with that. There'd be a tier break. I know I've got a guy I really like at 5, but it does feel like as much as it was touchdown based, LaPorta still has that tight end 1 finish in his resume. Like we've seen him do that, so pay our respects, right? And I think it makes sense to me anyway to have those 3 guys ranked: Bowers, Warren, LaPorta. Those are the 3 last rookie classes. These guys that have come out and smashed right from the get go.
Yeah,
but it's so hard for tight ends to do that historically. So that these 3 guys were that successful as rookies, finishing tight end 1 overall as rookies, like that. That carries so much weight, especially in Dynasty where we are evaluating over long term. But yeah, I couldn't.
And I also
think it does feel like there's a big tier break after these 4.
So after four, like you said, there is a tier break. But I also have a tier break within each one of my guys from like 5 to 12, where you could actually interchange them.
You think you mean it's a big tier? Like 5 to 12 is one giant tier.
It could be a giant tier itself, but it could also be like a tier of individual players themselves.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Who's at 5?
Depends on how you rank them. Oh, you want to know who my 5 is?
I do.
High five across the room.
This might be spicy, and I want you guys to buckle up for it, but it is Harold Fannin Jr., 5th overall tight end. I don't know if I'm crazy or if I'm just insane. It's one or the other. But Fannin Jr. is my 5th overall ranked tight end in Dynasty.
You could be crazy and insane, but you could also be right here too. Rahul, who's your number 5?
I got to go with Tucker Kraft. I think as much as the concerns are there about the target share, like I think this is it's almost like the LaPorta thing. Like he's proven, he's a weapon that can score a lot of touchdowns. He's great at making explosive plays. And then when you bring the age element into it, I would go with Tucker Kraft there. He's a tight end 5 on the year right now. I think Tucker Kraft is a 5. It might seem a little safe, but
I agree. Because if I was playing it safe, I would have Kraft at 5 because he's my 6th.
Yeah.
So I love it.
It's funny. I have someone different at number 5.
Oh, coming from the Green Bay Packers stand.
It's funny because it feels like he is very similar to Tucker Kraft. So my first take on Kraft is that the offense spreads the ball out too much. That one player isn't going to dominate targets. So tough, low floor on a week-to-week basis. Tucker Kraft's tight end 5, probably been buoyed by touchdowns, and it's been very efficient, but not overwhelming you with targets. That's typically what I like to chase with tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
My tight end 5 is Dalton Kincaid, an offense that spreads the ball around, where we're not one player totally dominates. His production right now, I believe Kincaid is tight end 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's right there with Kraft. The production's been very similar, buoyed by touchdowns. And it's been something that Kincaid has struggled with historically. And this year, the touchdowns, I think he has his career high in touchdowns already. I think at this point, he's tied it. I don't think that's a joke. I'm pretty sure 4 is his high, and I think he has 4 right now. So,
we're not too far off because I have Kincaid right in that Tucker Kraft, Kincaid right below Fannin, and I could see all 3 of those being interchangeable.
You know what? Dalton Kincaid, tight end 5 for me. Tucker Kraft is my tight end 6. Harold Fannin Jr. is my tight end 7. So
we all have 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah. But I think Kincaid and Kraft be very similar. They're offenses we want to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the one difference really, Kincaid's a first rounder, Kraft's a third rounder. Should that matter?
No.
It shouldn't, but
it shouldn't.
Especially with the fact the Packers have invested in that first rounder in Golden, though, the Bills seem more likely to make Kincaid the featured piece of the passing game.
Yeah.
It already feels like that started, whereas Kraft might be that for a game, but they'll never base the whole season around trying to make him the alpha target guy. Whereas where the Bills, it seems like they've already tried to do that with Kincaid. So I think is that the first round bias? Is it? I mean, I thought both were incredible athletes. I really like both as prospects coming in, not because I don't care about production. I just care about the RAS scores, right? And they're both incredible athletes. I find a hard time to separate the two. And again, that first rounder and the history of hit rates of first rounders versus third rounders, that I guess that sticks with me.
Yeah.
Because there really isn't much separating from Kincaid and Kraft, especially production-wise this year. They've almost been identical points per game.
But we've seen it before where a third-round pick is better than a first-round pick. Mark Andrews, we've seen him.
Versus Hayden Hurst. I'm going to say that Dalton Kincaid is a lot better than Hayden Hurst, though.
I also,
basically, Mark Andrews.
100%, yeah. But the fact is, like, a third round tight end can be something big, just like Tucker Kraft.
I mean, Kraft versus Musgrave. Musgrave was a second rounder, Kraft a third rounder. They're same draft class, and Kraft is completely taken over. And Musgrave, he's healthy, he's playing, and he's a complete afterthought in that offense. So you're right. He can totally take over.
And then the number one tight end.
The advantage Kincaid has is that he doesn't have Tucker Kraft on his team. He has Dawson Knox. That's been enough of a speed bump, let's say. But
And then the number one tight end in the league right now was a late fourth round draft pick, Jake Ferguson.
I was thinking Trey McBride in my head. I thought it was a second rounder, but you're right. Yeah, I mean, I didn't won in fantasy points and targets is Jake Ferguson.
Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson. I mean, he's certainly a dynasty tight end one. He might even like feature right after the guys we just talked about. That's one I am keeping an eye on as CeeDee Lamb returns. What that does to his target share, because Pickens they opened up Pickens' route tree a little much more when Lamb was out, and then it seemed like he went back to just being like that kind of X deep ball receiver. Lamb kind of works in the areas that I think Ferguson got a lot of benefit for in recent games. So that's something I work on. Just one quick thing on Dalton Kincaid. He almost, Kincaid is someone I would have said is a sell high through week 5, lack of targets, touchdown boosting production. He missed week 6 in a game against the Falcons that the Bills absolutely struggled in. And it's not to say that Kincaid, would have changed the outcome of the game. The Falcons good against tight ends, blah, blah, whatever. But it almost was like an eye-opener in a way that made me think that, hey, if they had Kincaid there, would their game plan have been a little bit different when, Falcons went man, all these certainly B-list or worse receivers couldn't just get open. Like, could Kincaid have done that? And now I wonder, coming out of the bye, will they make him that featured piece? We haven't seen that yet in targets, but keep an eye on how Kincaid performs coming out of this bye, because there's a chance that they ramp up his usage a little bit more.
So Jamie wanted to present something with these rankings, risers and fallers. And Jamie, you mentioned Harold Fannin as your riser. And I think we didn't really talk about him. We let you mention him. You can feel free to talk about Fannin more if you want. I know we do a whole other hour of the episode.
Fannin all day.
Yeah. Okay, this is part 1 of the episode. Now part 2 is just about Harold Fannin. And part 2 is a 2-hour special. But to be fair, like everything we've said about like Kincaid potentially being the featured piece of the offense, I think we could say that about Fannin now too. It looked like Dylan Gabriel was targeting him, and I mean injuries to other players and Njoku and Tillman notably have kind of opened that. But like, do you guys think Fannin is going to lead the Browns in targets even this year? But certainly that potential for him to do it in future seasons as well. Like, do you think that's a realistic possibility?
I'll let Jamie go first.
I was going to let Jamie go last. I figured we knew the answer was yes.
Okay. Well,
yeah. Go ahead, Rahul.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. And a lot of that, I mean, this specific year, a lot of that could have to do with the quarterback not being able to throw beyond like 10, 15 yards, beyond the Harold Fannin range, if you will. But just the way they've been willing to use him, they've got him a touchdown at the goal line too, safety valve, and then that idea of like certainly improved quarterback play coming in the future. Will the Browns mismanage it? Probably, the answer already. But I think Harold Fannin is here to stay. And we talked about it with McBride. We talked about it with the Browns and Dynasty Core with Njoku. As long as Stefanski is the coach of the Cleveland Browns, as long as he's calling plays for them, the tight end is going to be a focus of that offense. And I think Harold Fannin has all like the receiving capabilities and profile. It's like, Kyle, you mentioned RAS score is what we always look at for tight ends. That's when the RAS score, the combine results came in from Fannin. I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes a little bit. He's not a super athlete like a lot of these NFL tight ends are.
It was like a 7-7, 7-8 or something. Like it wasn't outstanding. Like we're talking about like our boy Terrence Ferguson or Mason Taylor. Like they were like low 9s. Like
or Theo Johnson, second of all time tight ends, right? And Fannin wasn't that. It's like
he also wasn't Gunnar Helm in like a 4-2 or whatever 4-3. Like that was there was levels to it where maybe I discounted Fannin too much.
Same here. Like I got him in the 4th round because I think some people also had the same like view of me. And like when I got him to 4th, I was like, all right, I'll take a share here and there because the price is so cheap. But I think he's past the eye test.
Fannin in redraft, and it's waiver pickups after week 1 when I saw him get like 11 targets or something, whatever it was, 9 targets his first week, first game as an NFL pro. Okay, yeah, let's pick up this tight end. But yeah, totally have 0 dynasty shares of Harold Fannin. So that's something that I have to try and correct when the hype on him has cooled down, which might not happen because I think the question I basically was leading to is I think he can lead the team in targets this year, and I think that makes it worth having this high up. So Jamie having him at tight end 5, I don't think is crazy at all. Like I said, I've got him at tight end 7, and it was a huge rise for sure.
Like the dude. You got rookie quarterbacks there in Cleveland. You're going to get another one next year. Rookie quarterbacks love to rely on tight ends. Harold Fannin has a low ADOT. It was like 6.4 last I looked. And he is like top tight end in
missed tackles forced. Yeah.
Yes, missed tackles and yards after the catch. So each target that he's going to get when he catches it, he's going to get 10 yards. That's 2 points right there. Give him 6-7 targets. That's 12 to 14 points. Plus give him a touchdown here and there. Like that's a 20-point game. He's got that massive upside. Yeah, I know it's the Browns. But
touchdowns,
I just still see this dude blowing up. He's a straight up dog. His family supports him. I love his family, and maybe one day he'll be my stepson.
Isn't his mom like happily married? Like weren't his mom and dad together at the Fantasy Football Expo? They seemed like a great couple.
No, that was his uncle. That was his uncle, dude. His dad lives like somewhere else. He hasn't seen his dad, or I don't know, in years.
Okay, sorry. I'm just assuming things. Sorry, I thought here's Jamie trying to scheme to break up a happy relationship. No, in fact, he's trying to create a happy home. He's certainly given Harold Fannin. I imagine you've given Harold Fannin a happy home on a lot of your dynasty teams.
Oh, 100%. He was my second most owned rookie.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about most roster player. He was one of your guys for sure.
Yeah, he was one of them.
Didn't make my mistakes of having 0 exposure in dynasty.
If it wasn't for Gaston in 16 of my leagues, it would have been Fannin.
I'm surprised he wasn't the riser. But when there's a riser, there's a faller. And Jamie, you want to talk about a faller in your dynasty rankings among tight ends?
Evan Engram, man, because going into the season, everyone was saying this dude's like top. I forgot what it was, top 7, 8.
Yeah, I said that. I think I had him in dynasty.
Yeah,
tight end 6 before the season started.
Now I don't even know where I have him. Outside my top 30? Is that too? Okay. Is that crazy? No,
that is 30. Pretty crazy. He's fallen about 10 spots for me. He went from tight end 6, which apparently.
I do have him. I have him at 30. Right behind Terrace Ferguson, Arroyo.
Yeah, I've got him at tight end 17. I feel like 30 is a little ridiculous because now he's back healthy and he's producing. He's not nearly producing what we expected, but maybe I haven't lowered him enough at 17. 30. Damn.
Yeah, maybe I have him too low. I might have him too low. You might have him too high. So let's just say in the middle, 24.
You guys know that for me, especially at tight ends, like after points, like what am I even doing here? I'm not a serious
Tight end
ranker.
17 to 30 really isn't that different, is it? Like that's not
Yeah,
really that
no,
much.
exactly. Very quietly though, because he hasn't really shown up in the box score, but very quietly, 7 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets. Which a tight end, man, and sometimes the wasteland that it can be. That's something to keep an eye on. But I have really high hopes that he would be like the second leading target getter on this team, like rivaling Cortland Sutton, for team lead in targets. And maybe this is one of those like standing like themes that we just need to let die and like stop looking for this Sean Payton Joker, man, because we're the ones who are the Jokers at the end of the day. Going as aggressively as certainly I did for Evan Engram.
I didn't really base that on Sean Payton. I based it off Evan Engram. I mean, this is a guy whose career average is like 20% target share. Like this is, if you look at this Broncos roster based on who's earned targets through their career, Engram should be the number 2 guy. Turns out it was Troy Franklin because he's the guy that's rivaling Sutton for targets on the team. So,
so I'm looking at my rankings. There's only one guy I have over Engram that's right around, that's older than him, and that's Kittle. Kittle's 32, Engram's 31. I mean, other than that, like who else would you put? Like maybe Goddard over Engram? Yes, right?
I've got Goddard one spot ahead of Engram.
Yeah, and then Mark Andrews is a year younger. I have him a little bit higher.
You see, I actually don't. Andrews is a guy I do have lower. That's when I kind of debated, maybe thinking.
Hunter Henry is around the same age. I have him a little bit higher than Engram.
I do
for his usage.
Yes.
And then, obviously Kelsey, 36 years old already. I still have him right around a little bit higher than Engram.
Andrews, Kelsey, Engram, Goddard, like Zach Ertz, like that's all one tier for me. Like that range is 17 through 21. Yeah, 20, 17. That's 16 through 20. Those guys. So
yeah, but there's just these younger guys like Terrace Ferguson, Arroyo.
Yeah, and maybe I just have that whole tier too high. Like maybe I should drop that whole tier down to
Theo Johnson. I have him above.
You see, Theo is one of the guys. Maybe it's the Canadian bias. I've got him at tight end 13. Right? The way Jackson.
I even have Jatavian Sanders over him just because he's only 22.
Yeah, that's again him and Arroyo and Ferguson. These guys that haven't done much. Those are the guys I've got in the 20 range below. Right. So then it's do I put the younger guys ahead just because they're younger? At least Theo's been producing like recently. Theo Johnson's startable almost across the board.
I think exactly on that. Like Theo Johnson, Mason Taylor, I'd probably add. If not, I'd have probably Mason Taylor a little bit higher than Johnson. But
Pitts is someone I have ahead of that tier as well.
Bretton Strange is another one I have over Engram.
That's
not
valid.
For me. Injuries, I think. Right, the fact that Strange is hurt, he's outside the top 30 for me right now because looks like a pretty significant injury. So maybe I just dropped him too much.
Bretton Strange could be injured for a year and a half, and he would still be higher than Engram because he only has about a year and a half left.
I mean, if Bretton Strange is injured for a whole year and a half, I wonder if he has anything left.
R.I.P. Jonathan Brooks.
Exactly. No, exactly. Like that's we've seen that. But yeah, Evan Ingram's fallen, and maybe I still haven't dropped him enough in my rankings. Is the point we're trying to get to. But yeah, it's definitely it doesn't look like there's going to be much uptick. Like this, he's returned from injury. He's earned targets, but still the production's not quite there. Like it does still look like he's going to struggle to be anything more than the third target on that Broncos team.
Yeah. And maybe just to wrap up the tight end discussion with Jamie, just like how your rankings are, I would probably still, again, contender, rebuilder, context, I'd probably still struggle to send any tight end that I'm starting as a tight end 1. And tight end 1, means a range of things. There's elite guys and guys that, you plug into your lineup. But I would probably still struggle to send a tight end 1, like a Goddard type, for your Arroyos or your Fergusons, no matter the potential, just because they are still pieces that could go into the lineup.
Well, I had a situation
You want those.
I had a
Yeah.
situation last week where I had noticed Engram was my 4th tight end, and I needed a quarterback, so I traded Engram for Stafford straight up. And I started Stafford. He didn't do much, but I'm not fretting about it.
Mhm.
I did
I
what I
will
needed
say,
to do.
I don't think like on the teams that I've got Evan Ingram, he is not a 4th tight end. Like he's like clearly the tight end 1, and there's not much else behind him. Like that's my problem with that.
Well, you know how I love to hoard my tight ends. So I have like 5, 6 on a dynasty team.
Kyle, I'm right.
So,
I'm right there. I'm right there with you with Evan Ingram, and less fun Evan Ingram is Jonnu Smith, and those guys have been supplanted in each of their teams' hierarchies by the late flyers I've taken on, the Theo Johnsons or the Fannins, and Gadsden in one league that I just promoted from the taxi to start last week, which is quite a thrill. But yeah, we were drafting them differently.
yeah, I mean, we're coming into the close of this episode, but I feel like we can just do a whole nother episode on our other tiers because we just
there's
pretty
3
much-
names we want to talk about. I guess you guys want to talk about really wide receivers. So, Rahul, you wanted to get to talk about Puka Nacua. We've referenced it before.
Mhm.
Jamie, do all 3 of us have Puka Nacua as the wide receiver 2 right now in Dynasty?
I do, yes.
You as well. All right, so that's established. Like, and if he didn't get hurt, and if Joe Flacco didn't arrive to the Bengals, he would be my number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
I know Keith Fleming doing some stuff on Fantasy Six Pack was talking about it as well weeks ago. Like he was raising Puka to Dynasty wide receiver 1 probably after week 1 or week 2. Like he was on that early, and it seems to make sense.
I'll tell you the exact moment that he certainly became 2, and he even flirted with 1 as we referenced, but it was that goal line pass that they had a 1-yard receiving touchdown, and that's the production that was holding Puka back from being like that difference-making hammer in your fantasy lineups. Is his lack of red zone involvement, and that has been completely fixed. There should be no worries about Puka as a touchdown scoring machine, because that's he basically, Puka took up the role of a goal line back in that specific play that I referenced. And when you get that, then the ceiling is like limitless, really, for a player like that.
What Cooper Cup used to be for Stafford in the red zone, they're showing signs that that's what Nacua will be. You referenced earlier with Trey McBride, and I talked about my touchdown projections, how no player has underperformed their expected touchdowns more than Puka Nacua among active players, and by quite a lot. Like per season, 4 touchdowns less than he should have had. I think McBride was 2.9.
2.5 or something. Yeah.
It was almost 3, but we're talking Puka over 4. It was 4.07, whatever it was. Like, such a wide margin of underperforming touchdowns. So now that that's there, and he was underperforming those touchdowns, and he was, I think, the wide receiver 2 or 3 in points per game last year. So with all that underperforming of touchdowns, and he's still amazing for fantasy points, now you add those touchdowns, that gives the recipe to have a wide receiver. So, I mean, it could fluctuate between him and Chase for me for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Jamie?
I think we feel pretty good at Puka. But there's another wide receiver I think that hasn't got the spotlight, that has been a big riser up the rankings, Kyle, if we want to get to him.
Well, it's Jamie, you've been wanting to get to him for a while, so he's someone who sounds like he's pretty high in your rankings. I know he's my number 6. I wonder if Rahul will probably have him in the same spot. But Jamie,
6.
Who's one of your biggest risers at wide receiver?
What position was this again? Sorry.
We want Jamie, talk to us about Jaxson Smith-Njigba.
Oh, okay. So this guy is awesome. You cannot move him outside your top 10. Right now, I think he's at 9 for me, which may be a little high versus consensus.
Jaxson Smith-Njigba? I thought we were talking about him in the like.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of Ibuka. Okay. Sorry.
We'll get to Ibuka in a minute. Well, ruin that.
I have to hop off in a second, but JSN is definitely top 5 for me, man. I can't put him any lower. The dude's been getting all the targets. He's still young, and imagine if he actually had a good quarterback.
To be fair, Darnold's actually played pretty good. Like better than
Mhm.
I gave him credit for. That's for sure. I thought last year was a total fluke, but to be fair, I mean, based on what Geno Smith's doing, it looks like he got a QB upgrade this year.
Seriously, and I think it just, I mean, JSN is playing at such a high level, man. Like the separation that he has in like some of these deep routes is, there's like no one even in his postcode. It's like something that like no matter like how much you thought of him as a prospect, he was like an elite prospect, like drafted like 104 to 106 in our rookie drafts, alongside like the Gibbs, the Bijans, the highly drafted quarterbacks. But I did not expect to see his success at winning downfield like he is doing this year. He's like truly elevated his game, and I mean he's probably like what he might be the wide receiver one right now, yes, or Rashi Rice one game 19.7, but Jaxson Smith-Njigba I think like top 5 wide receiver in redraft, and I think
Really?
which
Still,
feels crazy.
I know Puka had one bad game. Is it not? Is it not Puka?
Puka, it's the average is counting his 3.8. Oh, it literally looks like both of them are 18.6, so it's probably like decimal points off. Half PPR, half PPR.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, actually, you're right. Even in full PPR, Rice is ahead of Nacua as well. So.
Yeah. But to bring it back to JSN, like wide receiver 6 is it almost like it sounded like a contradiction in my head. Wide receiver 6 when he's a top 5 redraft wide receiver, but like the other guys have just proven top 5 production over so many years that I'll give them a little bit of a nod and let JSN prove me wrong there. But man, this like riser from rankings, because he probably was wide receiver 10 to 12 before, but riser in like sheer value, this is a big move up, I think, with what JSN's done.
It's not a flat line. Like the early picks are so much more valued, and they drop off as quick, and then it's pretty flat from there.
Mhm.
But do you think Jaxson Smith-Njigba belongs in the top tier? Like, are we talking about this expanded top tier receiver? Does it go to 6? Like, I mean, even to 5 to Jamie. Like, you guys have him in this top tier alongside Chase and Puka?
No, I'd put him in like that St. Brown, Nabers, JSN.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for me, I'm thinking St. Brown and JSN are in that top tier for me. So, like, I think I'd go as far to say that top tier receiver is 6 deep. My number 7 is Emeka Egbuka. And that's, I guess, the last guy we're going to talk about. And that's where I'm kind of drawing line. Does Egbuka belong in that top tier?
Yeah, I have him
Jamie,
at 9.
Another riser for you.
Yeah, I have him at 8 or 9. So definitely up there with the JSN.
I mean, he's flashed right off the bat. He's we were debating McMillan or Hunter. How much did we debate Tedero McMillan versus Travis Hunter on this podcast? Turns out Egbuka was the one the whole time.
Real quick, I gotta hop off. I just want to say, only rule in fantasy, you have to embrace the chaos, right? And you got to keep grinding, stay sharp. That's how you slay. Like, lineups change quick, but don't get stuck in a rut, because them sleepers really do bite you in the butt.
There we go.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the show, guys. I gotta take off.
Take care,
See you, Jamie.
So Egbuka, go. Let's. Nabers was a guy I definitely wanted to get to, but yeah, where do you have Egbuka? Do you think he's the one that comes in next after that top 6? I think we all have the same 6. It sounds like, man, Dynasty 6-pack united in that sense.
Yeah, I think 7 feels honestly pretty good, and like that might be a tier that includes a couple of the other names that he's certainly jumped past. I don't have any problem with 7. Quick anecdote from one of my leagues is this guy has been trying to trade me all season, Egbuka straight up for Tet, and me being a little too, take locked, and I spent the 105 on Tet. Like, no. And then Egbuka blew up for 27 points, and he was like, your window just closed. It's like, yeah, I messed up there. But 7 feels, I don't do like the rankings as detailed as both of you do, but I have no problem with 7. And heading up at the next tier, though, I don't think he's done enough to jump into the tier of the wide receivers we've already discussed, but heading up that next tier.
Even Jaxson Smith-Njigba, I was hesitant, but then we're reading off the points per game, and we're seeing like, man, he really isn't different than these guys. But yeah, Egbuka, that's it, because it is such a small sample size. It's only been 7 games.
I'll say definitively 8. I'll put Nabers still ahead of Egbuka.
That was the guy I was going to ask. Curious where Jamie has him, but I've got Nabers all the way down at 10 with the ACL tear. Roma Dunze and Nico Collins are the next 2 guys I have ahead. It's funny, Dunze has kind of cooled down these last 2 weeks, but before the bye week, I mean, he was a very clear wide receiver 1, clearly inside the top 10, and two poor performances. I still think the process of who he's been, it looks like he's taken over as the number 1 in Chicago. So
I think so as well, and I think we talked about the redraft show last night. Wouldn't be worried. They played Commanders where he had a lot of just missed explosive plays. He has things to work out with his hand. Few too many drops. He could be stronger to the catch point, but as a fantasy asset, as a long-term fantasy asset, I think Odunze should be there. Although one name, I think the name that would slot in a 9 for me is actually Drake London, over Nico, who I love, and Odunze. But I think Drake London, man, an interesting stat to watch out how this narrative plays out is London splits with or without Mooney on the field, and with Mooney he's like a top 3-5 wide receiver, and without Mooney and then with Mooney he's like a wide receiver 3. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think that kind of goes away over time. It's a bit of noise, but I think Drake London has that capacity to command like the 10 plus targets a game, which he's shown with Penix, and didn't pay off in the last game. But I think his ability to earn that level of target volume keeps him like a 9 for me ahead of some of these other guys.
His target share through his career has been crazy. Like, right as a rookie, I think he was earning 26%. Because that's what we're hoping. Like we're expecting kind of from Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jefferson and Chase, like when they're fully established. But London did that as a rookie. But I think it was at year 2 where he had a 29% target share and finished as the wide receiver 34.
Yeah,
it's almost insane that you'd have that much target with that bad of production. And we're hoping Penix fix it. So far, it's been a positive. Certainly, some of his best fantasy games have come with Michael Penix as quarterback. So building around that long term, I guess, just knowing how poor the targets haven't always translated to fantasy success in his case is that's the guy I haven't put Nabers behind. Like, I've still kept Nabers 1 spot ahead of London. Like, that's the one name where I just felt give me Nabers even with the torn ACL. I've definitely dropped him quite a lot and been aggressive. I guess to the quick talk of Nabers, like what do you like when I say dynasty wide receiver 10 for Malik Nabers? Does that sound right? Have I gone too far? Have I not gone far enough in terms of lowering him?
I mean, we're talking about elite guys, like above, below. I don't think that goes too far. Like, it sounds like you probably wouldn't trade Nabers straight up for London. But that's a lot of like interesting like permutations there where you take like the fantasy points this season and still get an elite young receiver if you get Egbuka, if you get Odunze, if you get London, Nico, BTJ maybe has fallen out.
Well, I was gonna say, has Rashee Rice in one game just jumped up, and is like those are the 3 guys I have right after Nabers are London, Rice, and Brian Thomas Jr.
If we're talking about some kind of dynasty value, like leverage opportunity, like Rashee Rice, like is probably the guy that's like sitting at wide receiver 15, 39th overall on like KTC. And like, that's like that profile that can jump into top 12. Top 12, honest, top 12 overall, but certainly into like second round, like startup consideration, because again, like keep harping on this, that ability to command like 10 plus targets and be like a featured, the centerpiece of an offense in a way that's fading away from BTJ. Rashee Rice like could be that guy.
it's so strange because I mean this has been something that's been brought up in the Fantasy Six Pack Discord several times. Like the immediate aftermath of the Neighbors injury, what were we doing trade wise? Like, do you have Neighbors in any leagues, or did you see any Neighbors
In one, he's sitting on my IR right now.
So you've chosen, and I know some people have done that. They've just said, if there's any reduction in value to him, I don't want to lose that value. I'll just hold him on the injured reserve. Like I've definitely heard some people make that take. You are too. Like you're just not willing to sell him at a loss. Think he'll recoup to where he's been. You just got to be patient.
And I think with that, and again, team dependent. If I'm a rebuilder, I don't want to lose that value loss because of injury.
For sure.
For me, in that team that I have Neighbors, I'm actually a strong contender. And to the inquiries that came in, I was like, I'd rather wait till our like week 14 trade deadline because nothing is going to change from Neighbors' value from today or from the time he got injured to week 14. He's injured. He's out.
What's he going to do? He's already torn his ACL. Like he's not playing. He's not going to get hurt playing because he's not playing. Right? The worst is already happened.
And if anything, I mean, it's like he can't exceed certainly a value of the healthy Neighbors who is like, pushing top 5-6 dynasty asset. But as the Jackson Dart conversation that we had, as Dart stacks up these exciting performances, even if they're not flawless QB performances, that excitement for Neighbors is gonna, start inching him back up. So I'm in no rush, and I think Neighbors still an elite asset, but that tier that we're discussing him in 1 for 1, that also doesn't seem like a move that honestly you'd be too upset about, even if Neighbors comes back and does what Neighbors is expected to do.
At the very start of the episode, we talked about, which is I guess an hour and 20 minutes ago, tiers are so important in rankings. Like as much as these are 3 guys I have below Neighbors, they'd be in the same tier. So if I've got to make that straight up trade, Neighbors for London, as much as like the rankings say no, I would do it if my team is trying to contend. To your point. So I don't know where's the accurate spot to put Neighbors. That was like Rashee Rice was a name that was brought up in the Six Pack Discord just very recently about trading Neighbors and like Neighbors for Rice straight up, and or even having to add to Neighbors, like Neighbors in a third for Rice, Neighbors in a second for Rice in a third, right? Like, are those flat enough moves that, man, just you're being hurt? The other team has leverage if you're dealing the injured player. You just have to accept that. Give me those points now and forget the lost value. I tended to be more on that side, to be fair. Weeks ago, right when the Neighbors injury happened, one league with Neighbors, very strong contending team. So I decided, this league's been going since 2019, and I've never missed the playoffs. So I feel pretty confident in my ability to make that first late. So I gave up Neighbors and a first and a second, all in 2026, to get Puka Nacua. My first thought was Neighbors was, I'll accept the loss in value, and I'll add a first to Neighbors to go get any of the guys ranked ahead of him. And all those top tier receivers we talked about. And basically, that was going to be the price to get Chase or Lamb, the manager with Amon-Ra St. Brown, a heavy contender that they're just not even willing to entertain it. Like, man, right. I'm trying to go for it. Like, I'm not willing to give up Amon-Ra St. Brown to get Neighbors. Like, no way. Like, that's there's not even a trade I could make that would even get accepted. The manager with Jefferson was actually thinking the same thing. Like, no, I think I'd rather hold Jefferson and try and contend. So, man, with those tier up options, like that was the price. That was the cost of it right there. Was like, that was like I didn't even want to miss a game. So like that, I did this, maybe 2 or 3 days after he got injured. The immediate price drop was there. It was real for sure. I was willing to pay it. And the way Puka was smashing early, I thought, man, I'm going to be paying this price for anyone. May as well be Puka Nacua. So hopefully he comes back healthy and I can continue to compete. Yes. So, but that's kind of where my thinking has been on Neighbors, which I think is, I mean, he's the one that has had such a huge, drastic reason for his change is one injury. Like, what's the tangible value drop for there? And I think before the season, I think I had him maybe at points as high as wide receiver 4 in Dynasty, but certainly in that 4 through 6 range, pretty locked in. That's like a 4-spot drop at the fewest, like a 6-spot drop right now. And again, have I even dropped him far enough? I'm not sure, because I am looking at, there are quite a few players, right, even below Brian Thomas that we get to, like Lad McConkey or Neighbors.
Mhm.
I really needed the points. Like I could see myself making that trade straight up. So again, rankings versus tiers, like used best in I think combination in conjunction with each other.
No, absolutely. And, we could probably yap about the specifics for hours and hours. So, but I think I remember seeing that trade come in on Twitter, and I think you were like responding to someone, and whoever you were
Yeah.
engaging with
I
was like,
think
damn, it
yeah,
seemed
I
like an
think
overpay.
it was Joe. I can't remember his last name. Not Joe Bond. But yeah, we're in a bunch of Canadian fantasy football analysts. We have a group chat going and he posted it in there. And so I decided to respond via the tweet. And yeah, I think it was the aftermath of the neighbor's injury. And he was, what are people selling him for? Like, what are the neighbors dealing? Like, what are we trying to do? So yeah, I think I definitely went and offered up my services. Well, this is what I'm doing. I know other people have, again, well, okay, we tear down from neighbors. He's lost value, but is there still enough value that you can get a plus added on to another receiver? Like those might have been where other people wanted to go. Again, some people might just wanted to hold neighbors, but there were definite moves to make with neighbors if you wanted to, or choose to hold if you want to. I think that the options are there. Like in spite of the injury, for teams that were rebuilding, I think that there's the talent of neighbors is enough that he's the one people are willing to trade for, even though he's hurt. Tyreek Hill tears his ACL. No one wants to trade for Tyreek Hill. Like that's like this. Give him to me for free, sure. Me giving up anything? No way. I don't want to give him fourth, right? Like that might be the response you get, but there's an appetite to want neighbors. So if you're a contender and you have Malik Nabers, I think it's definitely worth exploring what those trades are, whether you tier up from neighbors or tier down. There are managers across your leagues that are maybe not everyone, but there are managers willing to accept that lost season of neighbors because they believe in the prospect so much.
And they're looking to get points off their team,
And yes, especially if they're a clear rebuilder and they're trying to, we're trying to get the best pick possible, earliest pick possible. It goes, look for those teams that do they have elite tier receivers on a rebuilding team? Well, those will be the best way to get them. Again, it's nice to try and get Jefferson or Amon-Ra, but those teams are trying to win too. They're not going to want neighbors. So identifying those rebuilding teams, it's super helpful in that. But yeah, I think that there's for those looking to trade neighbors, if you've been nervous and based on the Discord comments that like people who have neighbors, they're maybe still waiting for the moment to sell. I mean, you talked about it too. Like you're maybe looking more towards the trade deadline. Like you said, that nothing's going to change for his value. Maybe the receivers around him might raise in value, but nothing that will happen directly to him will cause him to fall. So maybe even if he falls in the rankings, again, back to the whole idea of tiers, you'll have a certain baseline of value that you'll be able to trade kind of at any point through the rest of the season. So I guess there's the actionable advice and how we talk about rankings. But this was a lot of fun, updating our rankings mid-season here. But any final words, Rahul, for the listeners and viewers?
No, great episode as always. Of course, you come to expect quality from the Dynasty six-pack. Hopefully, ranked number one in the listeners' hearts. But yeah, I just love these kinds of conversations that challenge you to think differently about this game. There's many a way to skin a cat, if you will, and there's certainly many a way to play fantasy football, and certainly Dynasty takes that to another level. So yeah, great episode, Kyle. Great episode, Jamie. But yeah, good fun. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, the conversations can continue. Comment under the YouTube video. We'll definitely be checking and get back, respond anywhere we can. But also, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Senra Says. Rahul's at Small Talk FF. Even though there's quite a lot of talk, it's not. hey, the talk is small, but it's in large quantities of
that's
talk.
That's why I love the name Small Talk, because it's almost like a oxymoron is not the right word, but it's like ironic. It's ironic, right? Like nothing I talk about.
That's dramatic. No, it's not. That's not dramatic.
No, it's but nothing I talk about under the moniker Small Talk is ever small talk. It's always the most like esoteric, like we really get into the nitty gritty. I love that contrast of it.
This was a Small Talk episode, an hour and a half, right? He's at Small Talk FF. Jamie's at Jahmyr Perog. So shout out to Jamie, again, our great, fabulous co-host who has another show, and that's why he had to leave. Always working, always grinding, just like we're always grinding these dynasty rankings. Managers always grinding their dynasty teams, trying to find an edge, trying to find value anywhere you can. Hopefully, we've helped you do that. And we hope to continue to help you all every week here on the Dynasty Six Pack. We'll see you all